Hey guys, welcome back to Nature's Cadence Farm. Today we're going to be working on our Bandit Model 90 wood chipper. And we purchased this a few years ago now and love it. It's been a great machine. We've done a lot of work with it. And this starter went out in it. So I was using it the other day to help a neighbor. And when I went to go start it back up, it started fine the first time. And when it started back up, it just seemed like the battery was dead. So I tried to jump it and it didn't help. And so I decided, well, maybe I can rebuild it. So I looked into it and it looks like a GM style starter. So I went on Amazon and I found a rebuild kit for this GM style starter. And so I took it apart first to make sure I was going to get the right parts. But it was packed just full of like rotten wood dust is what it looked like. It looked like mulch inside of it. So I don't know if it's just been getting packed over the years, and I'll show you what I found on the inside of it when I get in there. But let's get in on the workbench here, which is not something I normally do. I'm usually outside, right? But we're going to get you inside on the workbench. It's going to be a little different. Hopefully the lighting's going to work out for us, and then we'll go from there. So let's get started. So here's the starter from the chipper. And here's the solenoid, and here's where the battery would hook up, and then the signal from the start switch. It has a key switch on it, and the ground hooked up, I believe, to the block. Yeah, so you can see this has got a little protective snout on it there, and then there's the gear. So this wood chipper does not have a clutch on it, so I'm surprised these, the gears look as good as they do. In fact, they're barely worn at all. I've seen a whole lot worse than that. So I'm not going to do a full rebuild on this because I kind of checked everything out when I had it apart the first time, but I am going to show you how to change the brushes in here. So here's the parts kit I got for it, and it's a DS-580K repair kit for a DR10MT. That's what it says there, and in reference number 79-1155. So that's everything right there. So these bushings here are for the up here at the where the shaft comes out, and there's a few other places, one back here too. And but mainly what I wanted was the brush kit and these holders that come in this bag here. Here's the here's the brushes, here's the little wires, here's the little holders. Either way, let's get on the inside of this thing and I'll show you. It's really kind of easy to get apart, but let's get on the inside and we'll get started. Alright, got a 3/8 offset ratchet wrench here. It doesn't have to be this, it can be a ratchet or just a plain combination wrench. We're going to first start off with taking these bolts, at least loosening them up out of the back here. Get them started. Then it looks like a 5/16 over here on the solenoid. I'm going to loosen that up right there. Oh, we'll go ahead and take this one out. I'm going to set a rag over here, something to catch all these little screws so I don't throw them all over the place, and hopefully they won't roll off of anything. Long-winded little bolt for just holding that on there. So let's see here, we're going to take these 3/8 the rest of the way out. Okay, got that out. You can see some of that gunk that was down in there. This bolt is all rusty, but it's still functional, still good. Alright, so here's the back end of this. This has one of those brass bushings in there. This should have a little slop in it. You don't want it tight. So I might just put just a dab of grease on there. You can see this is where the holder was sitting on there, and it kind of wore it down a little bit. It's a little bracket that bolts to the motor. Here's the let's see if we can get this out of here. Alright, so this whole casing, you saw I just pulled it right off once I had the rest of that stuff, and you can see all this gunk. I don't know if, just powder that came out of this thing. But really what happened was This brush right here, you can see it ended up kind of wearing down into the screw there, and I wanted the brushes out of the kit and these wires, these little wires here, and then I wanted the springs also. You can see this has a little tension on it. So you can see right here the brushes had worn down on the commutator just a little bit. The commutator bars, commutator, whatever you want to call it. And the armature stack here looks good. You know, I mean, it was a little dirty, but hey, whatever, you know, right? This thing is almost 30 years old, somewhere in there, or right at 30 years old. So this is the original starter. I know the guy that bought it from the guy who bought it new. In fact, the guy I bought it from the guy who bought it new. Either way, so I'm the third owner, but everything looks good. You know, nothing crazy going on here. This moves freely. This is, you know, not tight or anything. So the main problem, you know, like I was having were these brushes here. So let's get these out. They're not very hard to get out, but we're going to go ahead and get this going. So if you look down in the starter from the opposite end that the brushes are on, you'll see two metal pins. Hopefully we can see those in there. They are right here where my finger is. So you can reach on the inside of there, kind of holding it like this so you can see it, but you want to push those out. See that pin right there that got pushed out? So you want to push this one out too. Let's see if we can get in there. Like that. There. So we got these two pushed out. So that's nice. Go ahead and pull that out. Takes the spring pressure off, loosens up the brush, all that good stuff. Starts falling apart. So there's the spring. So I got me new springs. Here's the one brush. Got that. That looks good. Yep, so then here's that one. So this same thing over here. Pull that pin out. Everything comes apart. There's the spring. Good to go. Okay, so let's get in here and get the rest of this stuff apart. The plan is to take these apart one at a time and just replace what needs to be replaced and try to match everything up properly. So I've got all these little pieces here that match. I'm just kind of making sure I've got everything and everything kind of looks the same. So I'm just going to start with this one, and this one has just a screw holding this wire on here, the brush, and then the holder. So let's I've got a number 2 Phillips here, so let's see if we can get these apart without too much trouble. Oh yeah, came right out. Perfect. So there's the old brush, pretty worn out. Here's the old holder. Everything, you know, kind of looks rough, but I guess it's used, so whatever. Here's the old screw. I'm going to look in the kit here for the new screws. These had kind of a coarse thread. It appears that they have threaded these new ones with like a fine thread. Alright, so these are the new screws for this kit, at least this brush kit that I got. This looks like a 1/4 inch straight drive or a 1/4 inch hex, and either or, because this is a 3/16, I think. Yeah, but it looks like that'll fit in there just fine, so that'll work. And so yeah, so how we took that off was we had this like this, and then on the way this was mounted, I don't know if you can see that, but there's a taper to this brush, and the thinner part, or it's at an angle actually, so if you look at it, the angle part that goes down this way, that's exaggerated, goes toward the brush holder. So here's the new brush holder, and here's the new brush, so that needs to go in there like that. So let's put the wire on there, the new screw, and everything together. So you see how I've got that? There we go. Alright. So that'll go back right there. Alright, let's do another one. Alright, so here's another one just like that. This one's in pretty rough shape too. So what we're going to do with this one's got kind of a split wire. I'm going to put some electrical tape on this wire to kind of hold it together, but we're going to do this first. So the kit comes with these new holders if the old ones have a problem. Mine don't have a problem. It also came with new hardware to bolt these new holders in place. My original ones are fine. There's nothing wrong with the connections or the rivets holding it in there, and these wires look perfectly fine too. So all I'm going to do is just change out these brushes and the little bracket that mounts it to the holder. So I'm going to go ahead and do those two. It's the same process. You know, just mind your orientation. Here, I'll show you. So the little post is here, and you can see that there. So on these, this taper part is toward the this part of it. So if you look square at that, hopefully you can see the kind of the taper, but it's on the side toward my thumb right here. And so that's going to go like that, just like that. So when this one gets put back on, it will look like that. Alright, I went ahead and got this side in there so you can kind of see what I was working with. It's kind of tricky, but it will go in there eventually. So what we've got here is, I'm going to reposition this wire a little bit to make it easier for me to navigate. Got to get my spring. Got my new spring right here, and we're going to put that in first. Then we're going to put the metal part in, and then the plastic part. I know you can't see any of this. It would be really hard. I'll kind of show you what I'm doing there. Yeah, it's kind of tricky. You just got to kind of keep fumbling with it. And the way I got this one was this plastic. The plastic one here has the little metal right there on the plastic part for the spring, and then the spring here rests on the metal part of the holder right there. So I'm gonna fight with this one, and I'll show you when I get done. Alright, here we go. We're gonna attempt to get the brushes out of the way and the commutator on in in one shot there. The old springs were all worn out, so it wasn't too hard. These have plenty of tension on them, which is good, but kind of pull those. I'm going to set this up on end. So I'm just using the weight of this a little bit to help kind of get everything going. I need 4 fingers, or 4 hands, I'm sorry. I need 4 hands to get this thing on here, but I think we can get it. I got those 2 started. I got it down as far as I could. I got these 2 started here, and now I'm just going to pull these back and see if I can get it down low enough. Okay, there we go. So I just had to kind of use my thumb and push this one out of the way a little bit, but eventually it went on in there. So make sure everything gets kind of lined up. Just like that. Just had to kind of twist it a little bit. Put you back down here. So when I got these brushes started, I just had to kind of wiggle and jiggle this a little bit to get it lined up properly back here. It was kind of stuck on this little extra metal lip that's underneath it here. But there you go. There's the brushes replaced. That was the main thing. And I'm just going to put it back together, and we're going to go test it out on the wood chipper right now. I got the starter mounted in the engine. You know, it's just 3 bolts, a couple screws, just hook it back up the way it came off. But you can see there's where it is in relation to the engine here. So there's the Wisconsin V4, and I had to put the fuel tank back on so I could show you how everything, you know, that it was working and all. So I went ahead and put the battery in. You can see I've got the battery box right there ready to go. And so I'll tell you what, I'm gonna get you set up and we're gonna try to start it up. Alright, so here we go. We got the starter on, got the battery installed, and so here you go. This is how you start it. So you pull the choke out a little bit, and you flip the key to run, and then you hold it out there. Well guys, that was a success. This thing's really turning over now. Before it was really dragging. The engine was just barely turning over. So that's about it. Super easy. That's just changing the brushes. We didn't rebuild the whole thing, so don't, you know. But anyway, so thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.